Hi, everyone. Welcome to my podcast. This is episode 4, and I'm very excited about it. We are going to speak about my new family. We call them the Ryan Clan, 11 personalities and one hell of a family. As I mentioned it back in episode 3, there was a wedding. It was mom and dad. That moment didn't just change her life, it changed all of ours, me and my brothers, because when she married John, she didn't just get a husband. We got a whole damn clan. Then Timmy was born. He was the cutest kid. We lived on Flushing Avenue in this huge railroad apartment. The neighborhood was not great, but the apartment was magnificent. It had French doors. The apartment was magnificent. It was priceless. Timmy turned our lives all around for the better. I doted over him like he was my own. We all did, even Nikki and Ronnie. They, of course, left the changing of the diapers to me, because, God forbid, my brothers do anything remotely maternal, I thought. The family lived on Morger Street. The Ryan family, deep in the heart of Williamsburg. Back when it was called the Morger Street Projects. And let me tell you, this wasn't just a family. This was a full-blown cast of characters. Loud, wild, loyal, and absolutely unforgettable. I remember meeting them for the first time, and we had to kiss all of them. And Ronnie and I were crying because we were told to kiss all these people, and we didn't know who they were, but we did. It was a wild time. There wasn't a weekend that we weren't over there at their apartment. How my grandma and grandpa did this in a 3-bedroom apartment, I'll never know. There were 2 special people, and they embraced us as their own. I'd always watch Grandma make her chocolate cream pies, and sometimes without telling anyone. I'd let her read her Jehovah's Witnesses stuff to me. In fact, I even went with her to one of her meetings, and Mom and Dad found out, and that was the end of that. Grandpa unfortunately left us first, and soon after, so did Grandma. They were the Edith and Archie Bunker of Sheepshead Bay. Grandpa and I would watch Barnaby Jones every afternoon. We miss them both so very much. Tonight, I'm adding to the story. I'm sharing what it was like to live, laugh, fight, and survive with this new family. The chaos, the love, the Lou Rawls dance parties with no bras, the BQE screaming matches, the heartbreaks, the wild nights, and the moments that made me who I am. This is going to be quite interesting, and I hope you enjoy it. We're going to start with the Ryan 11. There was Dad, Uncle T, Uncle Mickey, Uncle Trish, Aunt Maud, Aunt Loretta, Aunt Lulu, Chanel, and Cosmo, Dee Dee, and Aunt Lily. Now, I am disguising names because I don't know if they're going to be happy about me doing this, but I'm saying everything in good graces. Each could carry their own damn movie. I'm telling you, a movie on their own. We'll start with Dad, John. He was the oldest of the boys and the undisputed general of the Ryan clan. He didn't ask for respect, he demanded it. And if you were in front of him, God forbid, on the BQE, and you didn't move fast enough, his famous line was, "Move the fucking car already," and he would scream it out the window. I remember vividly he got out of the car once with a pipe and went after the guy in front of him. Mom was screaming, we were in the back, we were like, what is he doing? That's how crazy he was. That was that. He ruled with an iron fist, and yeah, sometimes we felt that fist, but he was the backbone. He fed us. He clothed us. He kept a roof over our heads. You didn't cross him, ever. At his 50th birthday party, Mom asked me to say a speech for him. And I did. I wrote a speech because there was always music in our house. We loved music. I loved music. Elton was my all-time favorite. Thank you, Uncle Mickey, for introducing me to his music. So I wrote a speech, and everyone thought it was so sweet. I closed with words from a Dan Fogelberg song called "The Leader of the Band." And it went something like this. Thank you for the music and the stories of the road. I thank you for the freedom when it came my time to go. I thank you for the kindness and the times when you got tough. And Papa, I don't think I said I love you near enough. And that was my closing to my little speech I did for him. I don't remember the whole front part of the speech. I just remember the closing, and everybody was in tears. I feel him every moment I stand on my ground, and every time I protect someone I love. He built a foundation we all stood on. Even now, I know he's watching, probably yelling at traffic in heaven, making sure we're doing the right things. He was tough. He was flawed, but he was ours. And I carry him with me always. I do love you, Dad, and I miss you so much. Please protect Mom. Your son, Tim, is doing wonderfully, and all your grandchildren and children miss you so very, very much. Uncle T. Uncle T was the cool one. Tough as nails, with a quiet kind of wisdom. He had this way of making his sisters fall in line, not with fear, but with his presence. He just really wanted to be happy. And maybe that's why his girlfriends were always a little tad off. He married a lady named Lola and had the most adorable son, a kid who loved my parents like they were his own. We shared an apartment briefly together. He was such an oddball, and we called him Uncle Rotten. That's his nickname, Uncle Rotten. Everybody has a nickname in our family. I'll never forget the day when my mom was in the hospital and we got the news that there was nothing more that could be done. And the news spread like wildfire throughout my family, and everyone called, which I really was so proud of them for doing. And it really made me feel good that they called her. Uncle T-son, who was at this time, I believe he was married, called her, and I could hear him crying so hard on the phone with my mother, telling Flo, Aunt Flo, please, I love you so much. Please, Aunt Flo. That moment burned in my memory, and it still lives with me. This is the kind of love Uncle T helped raise. This is the kind of man he was. Uncle Mickey. I'm just going to say that. I'm just going to say it. I'm going to say it out loud. I'm going to say it. He was the hottest fucking man I ever seen. Period. All the girl cousins had crushes on him, and truthfully, so did I. He lived with Grandma and Grandpa for a while upstairs from the house that we all lived in. And he had a little tiny room that eventually became my room when we moved upstairs. His sound system could have rocked the Palladium. Such a tiny little room that he had. He went out and bought this huge system. We could hear Grandma downstairs yelling, lower that fucking music, I'm going to lose my fucking mind. Grandma was literally the Edith Bunker of Sheepshead Bay. Whoever was downstairs heard her and was laughing. My mother was always laughing when we could hear her screaming. He was a football player with a body of a god. I'm serious. Sexy as hell. Oddly enough, not many girlfriends, or many girlfriends that I saw. He lived downstairs from us, so I would have thought I would have saw one or two, but none. Trish married her husband, Tony. He was an ex-cop. Uncle Mickey met Anna, and he was done dating. She was a bit younger, but they clicked. To this day, they're still the happiest couple I've ever known. Uncle Mickey didn't need to chase attention. It found him, and he handled it with grace, like a man who knew exactly who he was. The story continues to this day, and I have the best cousins I could ever ask for. Trish was a riot. A box of wine queen with a laugh that could fill a room and a spirit that refused to be tamed. She was a wild, loyal, unapologetically herself. She didn't just show up, she took over. And when she loved you, you felt it in your bone. Her kids were always a part of my heart. My cousin, Michelle, we still talk to this day. And Trish taught me about survival. It wasn't just about grit. It was about joy. Even if it comes in a 5-gallon jug. She didn't care. I still feel her energy. And when I laugh loud or tell a story that's just a little too honest, she's not gone. She's just shifted. Somewhere out there, and Trish is holding court, drink in her hand, telling it like it is. And I know she's proud of the way we carry her name, her humor, and her love. We miss her so very much. And then there was Aunt Maud. Aunt Maud was the no bullshit queen. She told you like it was and didn't care if you liked it and would tell you to your face. She was married when we first came into the family, but that didn't last too long. She had my cousin Lourdes, my cousin and my friend. And Maude and Lourdes were like oil and water, but identical in attitude, in your face, unapologetic and fierce. It's so weird, but they were identical. I feel her presence every time I speak my truth without apology. And Maude's legacy lives in every moment I choose honesty over comfort. She's somewhere watching, arms crossed, probably, nodding with approval. And if I ever forget who I am, I hear her voice. Sharp, loving, and impossible to ignore. I miss her so very much. Aunt Loretta. Aunt Loretta had a daughter named Jennifer, who was adorable. There's actually a photo I'll never forget of Jennifer and my brother, because they were around the same age, at a Christmas party in Williamsburg. We were at a social club that we had to rent out because our family was too big for anybody's house to hold. Looking like two angels. That moment was so sweet and real, and it was adorable. I wish I had this picture to share with you. But Aunt Loretta, she's not someone that I was close with. And I was okay with that. And I think she was fine too with that. My Uncle Russ is an amazing man. And I do love my cousin. But her and I, we were never tight. And I liked it that way. She got in her lane, I got in mine. Let's just say she's the kind of relative you wave from across the street or the room, and you keep walking. That's all the time we'll devote to her. I do love her. We just don't like each other. Aunt Lollipop. I'm going to use Aunt Lollipop because it's part of her name, her real name. Well, not her real name, her nickname. And her and Uncle T were twins. She was the friendliest of the bunch. Her laugh was insatiable, contagious, and her voice, high-pitched, enough to make Edith Bunker sound like Barry White. She was never without her best friend Lily, always by her side, like a sitcom duo that never got canceled. She unfortunately married a gay man. To this day, no one knows if she did see it or just didn't care, or maybe she just did see it and chose love anyway. But here's the kicker. The guy brought a friend on their honeymoon. Who does that? A gay man does that. They had a beautiful daughter, and eventually the marriage ended. But Anne stayed radiant, laughing, smiling, living her life like the world was her stage. She was actually a smart businesswoman. She wound up doing very well for herself in Florida. So proud of her. And then there was Chanel. I'm going to try not to cry too much about this one. She was my Chanel, and I was her Coco. We weren't just close. We were connected. Chanel was my protector, my mirror, my ride or die. She ruled New York City nightlife like royalty. If I wanted to get into a club, she made the calls, consider it done. So that was her power. She taught me loyalty, how to keep my circle sacred, and how to walk into any room like I belonged. Losing Chanel was like losing a part of myself. Heaven is lucky to have her. And I know she's watching down, making sure I'm still holding my head high. She taught me how to survive with style and to fight with grace. How to love without apology. I carry her with me every day. When I laugh, when I protect someone, when I walk like I belong, I know she's right there, beside me smiling. I miss her so very much. And Cosmo was electric. She had a laugh that could stop traffic, and her presence that made you feel alive just standing next to her. She worked on Wall Street. She stayed close to Grandma. She lived with Grandma for a while and always had that sharp, stylish edge. We were close once. Always hanging out, always finding trouble in the best way we can. We had this energy that made you want to be louder, bolder, more yourself. One night we did Quaalude together. She warned me. She said, those pills are the size of a human thumb. So I took half. She asked me to get up and go get popcorn in the kitchen. I stood up and dropped to my knees, crawled to the kitchen like a wounded soldier, and Cosmo was laughing so hard that the wine we were drinking was coming out of her nose. I was hysterical. We had a falling out, and I regret that. Eventually, we came back together. There were no hard feelings between us, and we still spoke, but I do feel bad that we were never that close again. She loved Luther Vandross and would blast Never Too Much all the time, and it was just magic. We had a special bond, and that was okay for me and for both of us. She moved to Florida with the rest of her sisters, and Cosmo was the first of the sisters to leave us. My message to Aunt Cosmo is your daughter is thriving. I know Aunt Cosmo is watching over her, proud and smiling. Aunt Lily. Aunt Lily, oh boy. Aunt Lily was a hurricane with 100 personalities and moods, and a heart that could hold them all. She loved her weed, hated bullshit. The whole planet felt her rage when she was in it. But she was also sweet and adorable. She loved fiercely, and when she smiled, it felt like sunshine broke through a storm. She didn't do fake. She didn't do quiet. She did real and did it loud. I still love her voice in the back of my head. I hear her when someone tries to test me. She's out there probably rolling one, laughing at the chaos and protecting her people like she always did. Lily was complicated, beautiful, and unforgettable. I know she's still watching us loud and proud and full of love. Her legacy is fire and tenderness, all wrapped in one. Dee Dee. Aunt Dee Dee lived downstairs from us with Grandma in Sheepshead Bay. She was strong. She would carry a cow on her shoulder. Strong. That's how strong she was. Worked in a butcher shop. And I'd wake her up every morning unless she screamed out, "I'm not going to work today, Murph. Goodbye." That signaled a hangover morning, and I'd laugh as I walked out the door to catch the bus. She would drive me to work, to the train station in Sheepshead Bay, and never missed a beat. I always thought she'd come out of the closet, but nope. Straight as an arrow. One morning, she was ironing her clothes, I remember, in Sheepshead Bay, and she was late getting ready to go to work and asked me to grab her pants. I did that, and 3 little brown bottles fell out. She screamed, "Don't touch those!" I handed her and said, "Sister, please, do you not think I know what these are?" Aunt Dee Dee turned out to be a wonderful mom, a good friend, and a real one. She showed up when it mattered. She did with grit and grace and still going strong, and an amazing mother to her children and my cousins. So that was the Ryan clan. 11 siblings, each one loud, loving, complicated, and unforgettable. They didn't just shape my childhood, they shaped my survival. They were the backdrop to every fight, every laugh, every lesson I didn't know I was learning. Some of them are still with us. Some of them have moved on to whatever comes next. But all of them live inside me. And the way I speak, the way I protect, and the way I demand truth and refuse to settle for anything less than real. They were chaos and comfort. They were hurricane and hugs. And they were mine. This episode isn't just a tribute, it's a thank you to the ones who raised me, challenged me, loved me, and sometimes drove me out of my damn mind. They gave me stories, they gave me scars, they gave me strength, and now I give it back to them, one truth at a time. To my listeners, I want to thank you. You brought me to a proud moment in my podcast life over the past few days. This milestone I don't take lightly. Every time you tune in, you're choosing to sit with me in the truth. You're choosing to honor survival, family, and the kind of love that doesn't always look pretty, but always runs deep. So I thank you all for your loyalty and for listening. And that is episode 4, The Ryan Clan. We'll continue into episode 5 about some more family. I'm going to concentrate, I think, on Nana and Papa and Grandma and Grandpa in the next episode. And then we're going to float back into my teenage years and what happened then. And our move from Greenpoint to Sheepshead Bay, which was just horrible for me. And my friends, and we're going to talk about my friends in Greenpoint. I had a cute, adorable clan of friends. They were all girls, obviously. And I can't wait to talk about them. So thank you very much for joining me tonight. Have a good night.